Tell us how you ended up in Arizona.
I came here for an opportunity, like so many people come to Arizona because there's a job offer, and I came here for an opportunity as a journalist. Back in 1994, I loaded up my car and drove across the country. I guess a modern day pioneer, loaded up the car and drove to Arizona. And I stepped out of my car on day one, middle of August, 113 degrees, and I said, oh my gosh, I love this. I knew right then Arizona was for me, and it was the perfect spot for me. And so I came here as a journalist working for the NBC affiliate. I worked there for a number of years, and then in 1999, I ended up working at the Fox affiliate where I spent 22 years. But it was just such a blessing to cover this state. And it was really growing in the 90s. We were seeing a huge boom. It was kind of cool. A lot of people were coming in from all over the country, from the Midwest, from California, and then of course the born and raised Arizona natives who were here. And Arizona's been so welcoming for so long. And I think now Arizonans are saying, wait a minute, we're welcoming, but we want to preserve what makes us Arizona. We want to keep us that unique American West state. And we don't want to watch that slip away and turn into a California.
It was so interesting for me looking at your background a little bit. There's some parallels to your life to Ronald Reagan, I have to say, in the sense that he was from Illinois, and then his first job was in Iowa. And you were from Iowa, worked in Illinois. And then, of course, he was in the media. His first job in Iowa was a sportscaster on a radio station.
He worked in my hometown, my hometown at a radio station. We grew up an hour away and a few decades apart, obviously, Ronald Reagan and myself. And he was the president of my childhood. I mean, I had Jimmy Carter and then Ronald Reagan. And Ronald Reagan is the reason that I registered as a Republican when I turned 18. And I've been a registered Republican almost all my life, except for 4 years when I registered as a Democrat, because I got really fed up with the way the Uniparty was going.
Right.
Somewhere between Ronald Reagan and Donald Trump, I think the Republican Party lost its way and became the Uniparty. And we're seeing that now. It's really, you're either America First Republican, you're a establishment Republican, which are kind of the never-Trumpers, or you're the Democrats. And I'm starting to think that the kind of swampy Republicans have a lot more in common with the Socialist Democrats than they do the America First Republicans. And we're kind of at a crossroads right now.
Yeah, so I noticed that. It was kind of a protest. I know you'd mentioned in the past you were concerned about the wars, which of course Trump had addressed. And
Ronald Reagan, we need another Ronald Reagan. Right. You know, he became governor of California at a time when California was in a really bad spot. And they accused him of all the things they're accusing me. Oh, he used to be a Democrat. All he does is read scripts. What does he know? He has no executive experience. He went in and turned California around. He didn't have executive experience on day one, but he had leadership. Exactly. He knew right from wrong. And he had a way of communicating the issues to the people. And we need a great communicator, and I think that's where I can help. Because right now, he who controls the information controls the people. And the people controlling our information are lying to the American people. And we need somebody who's been in that world of media, who can tell people what's really going on. And I always say, turn it off. If you're watching the mainstream corporate media, turn it off. They are lying to you. They're trying to divide us. They're trying to hurt this country. And people are waking up to it, thank God.
Of course, in addition to Reagan, there was Trump, who kind of also came out of the media world and was a businessman. He did both, but he really has been a media personality since the 80s. And then, of course, had his own television show. And then, as you said, he had no experience in politics per se. He had an interest in it, and I'm sure over your years you've covered politics closely, and so you're aware of the issues.
I never dreamed of running for office. I never had a desire to. I still don't know that I have a desire to be in politics. It's a grimy field. But when I walked away from my career, I realized that, I covered Arizona for 27 years. Not many people have the great opportunity for a career to go into work every day and wrap your arms around the biggest issue facing your state or your community, dig into it, get to understand it, and then put the information out to the people. And I did that in a fair manner. I always felt I was a fair reporter. So I have an understanding of all the issues facing Arizona. But when I walked away from my career because I realized the corporate media was just pushing all propaganda and I wasn't willing to be part of that, the people of Arizona reached out to me and said, would you please consider running for office? We need somebody who we trust, who understands us, who understands the issues, and has integrity. And it became kind of a steady drumbeat of Arizonans reaching out to me. And I thought, well, wow, maybe this is God kind of tapping me on the shoulder, saying, this is that moment I opened you up for. And maybe so, because since we entered the race on day one, we've been leading in the polls. We have a movement afoot in Arizona, unlike they've ever seen before. And we're winning. And I believe we're going to win this and turn Arizona around. And I know that because we've got the swamp creatures coming out of the woodwork trying to get us. And they are panicked. They don't want to let go of the power they've had, the control they've had of Arizona for a generation. 40, 50 years they've been in control. And they're scared to death about we the people taking back our government. But it's going to happen.
And that was another parallel I'd seen, is that Reagan...
He was so great, too. I mean, we needed Trump when Trump came, and we needed Reagan when Reagan came. When Reagan came around, we were in a world of hurt, gas lines. Americans felt they were afraid of what was happening. We were in a hole. He was delivered America in almost an ash heap. And he, through his positivity, his humor, I mean, he was purely a positive human being who loved America. He brought us together. And he brought us together through patriotism. And that was that common thread, whether you were this religion, that religion, your skin color was, if you were black, white, didn't matter what your background was. We all love America. And that's what he brought us together. And he gave us hope, even though we were in a really dark spot. He gave us all hope that we can get through it. And we did get through it, and we came back better than ever. I think with President Trump, he came in like a bull in a china shop, and we needed that. We needed somebody to go in there and break a few dishes, show us what was going on. We needed a brash New Yorker. You know, he had to beat back 18 other Republicans to get to be the nominee. And so we needed someone who was tough, who wake us up to the lies that we've been told. And so they were both needed at the right time. Now, he tried to bring us together with patriotism, and the left, recognizing how powerful that love of country is, ended up spinning around and trying to make it look like if you are patriotic, you're a racist. And they pushed all that. If you like Trump, you're a racist. And they've been pushing that for 4, 5, 6, 7 years. And Americans are done with that. They now know we're not going to sit back and allow the left to try to scare us, kowtow us down into a situation where we let our country go because we're afraid to stand up because we might be called a name. Now, the America First Republicans don't care if you call us names. We don't care. That's a distraction. We are dead set on saving this country. And we will stand up if we lose a client, if we lose a friend, if we get called names. We just don't care because we're in the last minutes of saving this country.
So, and I heard you speak on the campaign trail a couple times where you talk about the border and you say, I mean, that's one of the top issues here in Arizona. And I heard you last night in a clip saying, you know, we've got to declare an invasion basically and then take very aggressive steps to address this.
Well, the Constitution gives us the remedy for what's happening on the border. We have an invasion. If you've been down there, you recognize it. If you've been following the story even remotely, you recognize we have an invasion. The largest invasion on our home soil that we've had since this country was founded. And we got to call it what it is, and that allows us to basically kick in our inherent rights under Article 1, Section 10 to protect our own people from an invasion. And that's what we're going to do on day one.
Any closing thoughts of your vision for Arizona or your elevator pitch?
Well, I'm going to go back to where I started, which is the Midwest, a family of 9. I'm the youngest. We had 8 girls and 1 boy, and I was raised with a good work ethic. My father was a public school teacher. He taught history and government, and a football coach. My mother was a nurse. And we had to work for everything we had. And we need to get back that working spirit, that work ethic in America, because we've got a lot of work to do to clean up the mess that Joe Biden has put us into. Joe Biden has practically decimated this country, and we need each state to step forward and protect their people and protect their state, and that's what we're going to do. We're not letting Joe Biden take Arizona down with him, and I encourage every state governor to step forward and protect your state from this federal government that's out of control. And so I'm going to take my work ethic. We're going to roll up our sleeves. Nobody will work harder than me for the people of Arizona. I'm purely in this because I love this state. It's been so good to me, and I want my children to have an opportunity, the opportunities that I had. And I can't sit back and watch these career politicians, these lobbyists, these lawyers who typically get into office and they only care about their special interests and their donor class. So I'm stepping forward, using my God-given talents to try to help save Arizona. And I ask everybody to get out there and vote like your lives depend on it. We're at a crossroads. Are we going to go back to the old McCain mafia, McCain machine running the show, where we the people get nothing and no representation, or are we going to be America first, Arizona first, and truly have our best days ahead of us? Got some work to do to dig out, but we have our best days ahead of us.
Okay, well, we'd like to thank Kari Lake. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Good luck on the campaign trail and in the upcoming primary.
Thank you so much.